Hey everyone, Shaedow here, and welcome to another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So in our last 6-star opening, we pulled Nebula, and I like Nebula, and we're going to see some of her abilities and see why I like her. But off to the left you can see what her health looks like, her attack at rank 1, and we will max out her level to 25. You're going to see just how much ISO that takes. It takes quite a bit of ISO. And we'll take a little bit more in-depth look at her abilities. And I'll talk a little bit about where she is most useful. And after we take a look at her abilities and specials, we'll look at her synergies as well. We'll go into Realm of Legends and I will showcase her specials as we play around with Winter Soldier. Alright, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Smart Select, but it is awesome. If you'll notice here, you see how it automatically selected all the tech ISO? That is a new feature that they added, and it is such a time-saving feature. I love it. I hope they introduce a lot more time-saving features in the future. But in any case, as you can see, it speeds things up. I used to speed up this portion of the video just because it took so long. But it doesn't take that long anymore, so no need to speed it up. Alright. Oh, and at the end of the video, we will do a couple of duels, and I'll showcase some of her abilities against robots. And there's a little bio at the end if you want to read that. It's the same bio that's in the game as well. Alright, so she's all ranked up, and so now we're gonna take a look at first her synergies. And her synergies are nothing real special. I didn't see anything that seemed too impressive to me. Alright, I'll take a look at her details, and you guys can take a look, compare them to other champions if you want to see how she compares. But where I see Nebula being very useful is against robots especially. Alright, so let me talk to you a little bit about some of the things that she can do, and you'll get to see them as we go through. I'm not going to spend too much time on each one of these. But she has a passive regen capability. By holding block, you can build up shock charges. When you parry, you release those shock charges. Now, each of her shock charges, before you release them, will reduce the ability accuracy of robots by 20% per charge. So if you build up 5 shock charges, then they are shut down. So that's no evades for the Ultron. Sentinel will not build any analysis charges. Alright? She's also immune to poison and bleed. Now her specials. Her special 1 has a power lock and a power drain. And the power lock lasts 1 second per charge. And you can have a maximum of 20 charges. So you can power lock them for 20 seconds if that's the route you need to go. Her special 2, that is where she does her massive damage, and you're going to see that in the Realm of Legends fight. But her special 2 doubles whatever shock charges are on the opponent, and it does a bunch of energy damage. Alright, so if you build up the shock charges, parry, fire off the special 2, that's where you deal a ton of damage. And her special 3 is not too special, honestly, to me. It does some shock damage and some decent damage, but nothing compared to her special 1. I mean, sorry, her special 2. Alright, so we're going to go here into Realm of Legends, and I'm going to show you guys her specials. And we're going to start off this time with her special 3. Just mainly to get that one out of the way. Normally, I'll do a special 1, then a special 2, then a special 3. But I wanted to get the special 3 out of the way because I don't consider it to be, you know, all that really. But that special 2, when Nebula first came out, a lot of people were very hyped, and it's because videos were produced by showing her massive damage when she fired off that special 2 after having built up the shock charges. But that's not sustained damage, and you have to set that up. And that's what some people didn't realize, and they were kind of disappointed when they got the champion to realize that you had to really set things up. Alright, so this is her special 3. You'll be able to see, how much damage that does, and the shock. Also, I am running suicide, so her damage that you see here is a little bit elevated than what it normally would be. Inflated, sorry. Alright, so one of the things about her style of play, by building these poise charges up, a lot of times I'm watching the poise charges and not my opponent, which is why I get hit more often. So it just takes a little bit of practice. So you want to avoid getting a lot of block damage when you're building up your poise charges. So it just takes some practice. So here you see that I built up a few, and you see that I power locked him, and you see the damage that it's doing as well. So it did damage because of the shocks, and it power locked him for 1 second per shock charge. Alright, so now I'm going to build up to her special 2. And you can see that I'm building up these shock charges. Right now I really don't care if I get hit, hurt, whatever. I'm just trying to showcase the massive damage that she is known for. Alright, so once I build up to a maximum of 20 charges, and you can see it takes a little bit. Alright, now I get a little bit, fire off that special 2, and just look at the damage. That is some crazy damage. Look at his health melt. Didn't last very long, but it was a lot of damage. And that's what you would see in the early videos of her, just doing that massive shock damage, but people didn't realize that you have to set that up. Alright, so Nebula is a good champion. If you are fighting Sentinel, she's awesome because you don't have to do any of that setup. You just have to build up the charges. Some of the synergies that she has, I forget which one, allows her to start with a bunch of charges. So that means that she can shut down robots without having to do any kind of setup and just fight them normally. If I were still doing Act 5, the last Ultron, she is a very good counter for that final Ultron. Medusa, of course, is who I used and who I recommended at the time, but Nebula is also good because if you get that synergy, she can shut him down from the start, and you never have to worry about any of his mechanics unless you accidentally lose the charges by parrying him. Then you have to build them back up again. But other than that, she's actually pretty useful against robots. She can actually tank a special 3 because of that regen. If she loses enough health, and you can see her regen going right there, but if that special 3 hits and she loses a lot of health, that regen will kick in and she will regen all of that health right back up. So she is actually pretty awesome, and notice she's doing all of this without being awakened. So she does not need to be awakened in order to be useful. Alright, so that's Nebula, and after this Realm of Legends fight here, we're going to do a couple of duels. And the thing to note there, I think I fight a Sentinel first, and then I fight Ultron, and I also fight a Blade. And that one I kept getting hit because I kept looking at the shock charges building up. But in the Sentinel fight, notice that she builds the poise charges, not the poise charges, she builds the shock charges up and shuts down his ability to gain any kind of analysis charges. It stops at like 8 or something like that. But then once I release those charges, you'll see that he starts building up his analysis once again. Alright, and in the case of the Ultron, he just doesn't evade while she has those charges. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to the duels and see what she can do there. Alright, so first up we're going to be fighting Sentinel. So the first thing I'm trying to do is build up enough of the shock charges to stop his analysis game. So you'll see once I had enough, 5, take a look at his analysis. Now I'm just fighting him, I'm repeating actions, and he is not gaining any more analysis charges. Okay, now eventually, as you see there, I did the shock. Now he's gaining the charges once again. So that's just something to bear in mind. You have to maintain the shock charges because once you've parried and released them, they have their ability accuracy back. Alright, so watch the next few duels. There's a Blade and Ultron, and just notice that the Ultron does not evade at all while she has her shock charges. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you found this informative and you can see the utility of Nebula. We just recently had an event quest where you had to fight against the Adaptoid. He was a robot, so she would have been perfect counter for him. Alright, so if you enjoyed the video and it helped you out, please consider smashing that like button. If you have not subscribed to my channel already, please consider giving me a subscription. Leave a comment below, let me know what you thought about this video. If you would like to support the channel, there are links in my description that would help you do just that. And you guys have a blessed day.